Good evening, YouTube. It's your guy J Crew to you, and I'm coming at you with another video here on August 25th, 2023. I know it's been a few weeks since I put together my last video, so I said I had some free time this evening. I said let me do a video here about a very interesting situation that should be familiar to a lot of people in terms of generally hearing about it and its effect, like in pop culture. The gentleman whose face you see on the screen right now is named Michael Oher, last name Oher. And if you don't know him by name or even, just by his appearance in this photo, he is pictured here along with two other people, one being the lady to his right and the other one being the gentleman to his left. Uh, this couple, and I may be saying their name wrong, called the Tuies or the Tours or something like that. And the significance of this photo is that for people who remember in the entertainment world around the late 2000s, Michael Oher, along with the Tuies here, were subject of a film called The Blind Side, and it was a very very popular and well received film that I believe was released in 2009. When Michael Oher was getting drafted by the Baltimore Ravens to become a professional football player. As you can see, he has his uniform here, and he's repping the Ole Miss Rebels, and that's the University of Mississippi Rebels. For people who don't know what that is, and Michael Oher's story was brought to the big screen. Like I said, everything seemed to be peachy. It was one of those feel good stories where it was about a young brother who changes his environment, and he just happens to beat the odds with better and more influential people around him who could sort of like just help nurture him and help him become who he had the potential to become in life. But this feel good story over the last few weeks has hit some unexpected skids that have really put a damper and put question marks around the whole story as we came to know it. Michael Oher, when he was born, I believe he's from Tennessee. He was born, to a mother who was addicted to, I think, crack cocaine, and her husband or his baby's father, I believe Michael Williams, was in and out of prison. I may have his first name wrong in terms of his father. His natural born father was Michael Williams, and I think he was in and out of prison throughout Michael's youth, so he really didn't have much exposure to a positive male role model. And his mother, as I said, she was on drugs. She was in and out of jail herself, and it just wasn't a good environment for Michael. So he kind of bounced around to different adoptive families during his youth. And according to the film The Blind Side, in which Sandra Bullock portrayed, the mother here, Miss Bowie, at least as was portrayed in the film, that her along her husband, they sort of introduced him to football and help him develop his football skills. According to the film, that would lead to him becoming a football star as an offensive guard slash tackle and leading to his path to the NFL. When they took him in, I think Michael was struggling with his grades. Uh, he had maybe like a less than a 1.0 GPA, but he eventually worked himself to maybe having like a 2.2 or either a 2.5 GPA that would have allowed him to get into the University of Mississippi. And once he got in, and let me say this, Michael at the time they took him in was under the impression that they adopted him. Because as I said, he was with other foster families, as I understood. But when he finally got with them when he was in high school, and I want to say it was either his junior or senior year, he was under the impression that it was just a traditional adoption. And so he considered to be part of his family. And so, as I said earlier in the video, Michael eventually would become college football All-American. He would get drafted by the Baltimore Ravens in the first round of 2009 NFL draft, which wasn't terribly long ago. So he played for several years in the NFL, but I think after some injuries kind of got to him, he eventually sort of moved away from that. And And in terms of when I say that football, I think he retired from the game of football. And it was reported he made maybe $34 to $37 million as a professional athlete, and before he decided to hang it up for good. And and like I said, it was supposed to be happily ever after for him. But the last 2 weeks have shown it's been anything except happily ever after. Strangely, over the past few weeks, Michael Oher has done interviews where he claimed that he's learned more about the Tuohys than what he probably would want to care to know about as his life has gone on. For whatever reason, Michael began to inquire about the nature of his quote unquote adoption in February 2023, and he found out that really wasn't the nature, or at least to his at least what he's proposing in court. He really wasn't adopted, which is very, very strange. And upon him discovering this, he discovered that they had a certain arrangement, they being the Tuohys, in terms of how they really were dealing with him. To his knowledge, and again, let me preface this by saying that Michael is just alleging this. I don't think all these things have been proven, but he is just alleging this. What Michael was alleging was that when he was initially taken in by the Tuohys, that the true nature of what they had going on was called a conservatorship. And for people who are uncertain about that word, it's not really an adoption as one would probably think. What Michael began to discover is that when the Tuohys took him in, and again, this is all alleged, that's why I'm trying to be careful with my words. They entered into a conservatorship with the court, meaning that they would have control of all his business affairs as his life moved on. And you might not think too much about that, but keep in mind, I said they took him in when he was in high school, and this was after he was becoming a known player. And so basically what Michael is alleging was that they saw the fact that he was going to be a college football star, and given the nature of his story, they thought they could make some money off of him as time moved along. And as we know, and as I said previously, the movie The Blind Side came about. And so what this actually meant to him was that they just took advantage of him. Because another shocking thing that he was alleging was that the Tuohys actually earned, millions from this arrangement, in terms of them engaging with the production company to produce the film The Blind Side, while Michael was saying he got nothing from that deal. Not a dime. It's basically what he's alleging. And that's what's kind of shaking everything up. It's kind of really just stunned people to hear these allegations, because again, this is something that we're not used to hearing. It's like, wow, this good. We thought these folks were on the up and up, but at least from what he's saying, that it was anything but being on the up and up. The Tuohys over the past few weeks have responded by saying, no, what Michael is saying is not accurate. What he's saying should be taken as truth, that he is basically just misstating facts. They're saying that he was paid over the past few weeks. And so it's just been unfortunate to see what should have been an excellent feel-good story just turn into something that's just been a bit of a letdown, for lack of a better term. To see that it's just gotten to this point where the family who supposedly took him in is supposedly taking advantage of him. And I've kind of stated somewhat of what Michael was saying from a lawsuit standpoint. But let me also say, over the past decades, Michael had, since the movie has come out, he really hasn't spoken of the movie in a positive light. He's basically said that a lot of that movie was a bunch of bull crap. Like, he basically said that, hey man, I was already a known football player when they took me in. Like in the film The Blind Side, I think Sandra Bullock in particular was portrayed as Miss Tui, she portrayed Miss Tui, who was shown that maybe taught him the fundamentals of football, like he wasn't playing football too much, like he wasn't doing anything up until he met them, that he was just, for lack of a better term, maybe perceived as dumb. Let me say this. When I found out that Michael's GPA was as low as it was, like less than maybe a 1.0 at times, or maybe just got up to a 2.5, some people just might think you was being a little bit slow, bro. that's just the nature of the beast with that one. So I mean, but he feels like internally he was not that. So he feel that those inaccuracies really have sort of like put a bad taste in his mouth. He's pretty much been saying that over especially in the last several years, that he just didn't like the way he was portrayed in that movie. He didn't agree with it. He felt like it was a work of fiction. As I said, he was alleged that the Tuohys took this money that the people who made this movie gave them and kept it and did not give him anything. Well, literally earlier today, as you see in front of your computer screen, I'm finally getting to this article in which the Blindside film producers came out and said, man, what Michael Oher is saying is not accurate. It is really, really kind of shocking, because most people would tend to believe Michael Oher, and they would just think the Tuohys are the ones that are probably lying. As you can see, the title of the articles, and this is based upon an article on Yahoo Sports, and I'm going to put this link in the description box when I post the video. It says, Andrew Kosovo and Broderick Johnson pushed back against Oher's claim that the Tuohys received millions of dollars. Go to the article a little bit here. Their production company, Alcon Entertainment, basically said they paid the Tuohys approximately $767,000, and they paid it to a talent agency that represented the Tuohys and Michael Oher. And they said it was just consistent with marketplace conditions at that time, meaning that they didn't really give them any more than what that you would probably give any other subjects of a film story. And they've even said that deal that they put into place, it did not include significant payouts in the event of the film's success. So they pretty much paid them up front, and they didn't really give them any residuals off the film. Because keep in mind, this film, I believe, was thought they had made over $300 million. And in 2009, for like a non-superhero film, that's pretty much a success. And as we all knew, Sandra Bullock even won an Academy Award for her role as Miss Tui. So it was that significant of an event back then. And starting with the second paragraph you see on the scene, it says, an attorney for the Tui family estimated last week that Sean and Leanne Tui, their biological children, and Oher have each pocketed about $100,000 apiece from the movie so far. And so, but again, Oher is saying that he didn't get nothing. You know what I'm saying? So he's alleging that he got nothing. And again, he even came out saying that recently that he just discovered all these new developments within the last several months about the true nature of the adoption, according to him. Again, I'm not saying that's true, so he could be lying, but he's come out and just said that. But what I'm interested in is why he came out and said that now. Why did he say all this earlier? Like, what has pushed him to dig into these investigative findings, just now within the last several months, when this film came out in 2009? Why did he not do that last year, or the year before, or the year before that? So, to me, this has just been really sad to hear, because we've all been sold this story that it was just a feel-good story where this family just took this young man in. Uh, they sort of took him out of his impoverished circumstances, and they just kind of help him make something of himself. Let me say a few more things. Another side of this, I think, while some black people have taken Michael Oher's side, is that some black folks out here in the world feel like that when you hear stories like this of white people taking a black kid in and helping them become something, it's like the promotion of a white savior to a black child. And they feel like that they didn't. I think some black people are getting tired of seeing that presentation on a major motion picture scale, even just in general culture. We hear about white people having to, take a black child in and sort of save him from his natural born circumstances. Let me talk a little bit about that. If that's what folks have to do out here in the world to provide a better way for some black children, whether they black, white, Hispanic, or whatever, more power to them, whatever their real motives are. To me, if Michael Oher would have stayed in that circumstance where he had a drug addicted mother and a father who was in and out of prison, I think his father even got killed in prison, as a matter of fact, he probably would have been a victim of that system himself. He would have been just a very talented young man who just never made something of himself. So I don't have no opposition to to that actually happening in life. If he had to go and move and live with a white family or whatever to make himself better, and it seemed like that's what initially happened because he made millions of dollars in the NFL. Then why not? I don't see nothing wrong with that. To an extent, I don't think that's all we see. I mean, to me, when you see just maybe stories here and there, a white savior, quote unquote, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that, especially if that's what really happened. Generally speaking, they gave him a better environment for him to function in to where he could sort of get to his dream. But what really is offensive to me is not the presentation of a white savior, but the presentation of some facts in this world about how some of our women out here, in particular some of our black women, just tend to fail at life, and they put their children in these horrible circumstances. When I think of Michael Oher's mother, Miss Oher, it's just something that's just unfortunate to me. It's very tragic how she was seemed to be dating a guy that really wasn't worth 2 cents in and out of jail. She was on drugs herself. That's who really need to take the shot to me. Women who ain't ready to have these children. To me, that's where the blame really lies. And that's where some of the disappointment and anger should really lie. Against women who have these babies out of wedlock who ain't really ready to have them. And again, let me tell you back, I don't even know if it was out of wedlock. So, but just the fact that she just had, I want to say she had told her 12 children. Either Michael was maybe number 13. She had a bunch of kids, and just bury him into poverty like that, it's just shameful. And that should be the part that should get people turned up and kind of get people mad about what happened, not just the fact that these white folks took advantage of this young black male. And it's just kind of disappointing to see that some black women out here, they just ain't ready to do their job like that. I know it's not just black women who have that condition going on, but just speaking to this circumstance and being the fact that I'm black, I've seen that in my own personal life. When you see women that's in your family or women that you just come across and just weren't ready to have kids, they bear kids and their kids suffer as a result of their decision. Another reason why I waited a week to do this video is that we don't really know where this story is going yet. It's kind of like a thing where, like I said, Michael Oher found a lawsuit against the Tuohys, and he's trying to reclaim, I guess, whatever money he feel like they pocketed from that film and get his fair share of it. And the Tuohys, I think they've even come out and said within this last week that they're going to voluntarily end the conservatorship. So I think that maybe has been proven that, yeah, it is a conservatorship, and they're going to agree to sort of like just dissipate it, just kind of, allow it to just end. And so at least I think they maybe come to an agreement on that. But there's a lot that needs to be said before I think a lot of people draw conclusions. And I'm going to follow this story because, like I said, this is one of the most popularized feel-good stories we've ever seen played out on film that just may not be all that accurate. Either way, you got J. Crew to you coming at you this evening August 25th, 2023. Just want to do a video for the days out here. We're going to keep up with this story. And hopefully have more videos coming to y'all this weekend. If you like the video, hit the like button. If you want to subscribe. Y'all have a good one.